Roshan, I'm going to start off with you. This film is based on a play. So, what was important to you as you adapted it for the screen, but still, holding the integrity and the essence of the actual play?
Yeah, well, the play's by Madhuri Shekar. It was first performed in 2014, has been performed continuously since then. It was adapted by Eric Randall, who's a very gifted screenwriter. Then Karan and I put our own spin on it based on our own lived experiences. But the heart of it is the play. It's an incredible play. It has a balance of emotion and comedy, family and love, acceptance, belonging. It's just full of the biggest themes in the world, written and performed before gay marriage was even legal.
You see it. I just wanna eat it.
What's new, Naveen? Got a boyfriend?
Let me see it.
My parents are super liberal, just don't bring up drinking or sex, and no displays of physical affection.
At least this boy is Indian. We think it's wonderful that you're white.
Oh my God.
I felt like there were a lot of universal themes in there. And Karan, it was so much fun watching you play Naveen. So for you, what aspect of Naveen did you feel were most true to your personality? But then what was a big departure for you as well?
Yeah, it was one of those things when I first read the play and then the script, it felt like Madhuri and then Eric had written something in for me, even though they didn't know me in any way. So it was that happy accident as an actor where you're like, oh, I can really kind of see myself in this. I really related to the character, how kind of shy and afraid he is of his emotions. That was something definitely that has been a version of me in my 20s, definitely. And then also this idea of I grew up in India, so I went to like a lot of weddings and I only saw straight people get married. And so that opening scene when I read it in the script, I remember being like, I know exactly this feeling of sitting on the sidelines, watching all these people celebrate and wondering, will I ever have this kind of celebration for myself? And so that felt very real. The part that feels the most different for me, I guess, is I am not a doctor. I think I could be a good doctor. Roshan has told me that I would make a good doctor, but that life seems really boring to me. And I feel like my soul would slowly die in a hospital. But yeah, the character seems to like being a doctor. So
And maybe that's a conversation we have to have with Roshan, who is an actual doctor.
Yeah, well, I mean, being a doctor is not boring unless, I mean, a lot of people find it boring, but it is not boring. It's riveting. And Karan would be a good doctor because A, he's Indian, B, he's very diligent. He always, anything you tell him to do, he does, and he does it immediately. He's extremely responsible. He was a teacher's pet in high school and whatever. Um, and those are the two big reasons. So I think he would be a really good doctor.
There's a great side job for you right there, Karan, though I don't think you need it
Sure.
right now.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
never know.
You never
Start
know.
taking some Phoenix online classes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
2025. I mean, anything is possible.
And you know what was very heartfelt to me is that I understand the story hits home for the both of you, especially as you are planning your own wedding and the things that both of you have been through. So, how would you say that making this movie helped navigate your own personal feelings and challenges?
Well, we're going to get married in a courthouse without any ceremony whatsoever and with the barest attendance possible. So just close family. So the movie is the opposite of how we intend to get married ourselves because the wedding is such a, I don't know, maybe because we made this movie, but also because neither of us likes attention that much. And the whole process of spending a lot of money on a wedding has never made a lot of sense to us. So we're grateful in a way that we got to experience a version of what a big gay Indian wedding would look like through the movie.
But one thing did happen while making it, well, specifically to Roshan, which was that we were trying to get a pundit, a priest, to help us with the wedding, and I'll let him finish the story. But it kind of
Well,
mirrored
yeah,
the
we couldn't
one I
find a
saw.
pundit who was willing to come up with an Indian ceremony. I've since now received in my DMs the names of multiple pundits who specialize in this kind of thing, but we struggled in Canada, Western Canada, to find someone. And we eventually were referred to a pundit who was referred to as the most liberal minded pundit in Western Canada. And he texted me a gay slur and said, don't ever contact me again. And I put that screenshot online because I was like, this guy is so annoying. But I was trying so hard to plan the ceremony correctly, to respect all the traditions, to do the chants whenever you do the chants, to do the circles in the right directions. And all along, I've got some pundit texting me gay slurs. Like, why am I trying so hard to respect the tradition when the tradition doesn't respect me? But we eventually found a pundit who at least claimed to be Priyanka Chopra's pundit, a fact that we have never verified, and I cannot say whether or not it's true. He did Zoom calls entirely from his phone while driving a Corvette with the Malibu sky behind him. And he gave us a lot of advice. He sent us a 72-page document on how to plan a wedding, and that document had on every page a little picture of him in the corner. So he was very much, it suffices, it doesn't even have to be said, but he was from India. And he was like incredible. Like, I actually love the ceremony. I think it's so beautiful. And saying these words that have been said for thousands of years by everybody is so spiritual and deep. And by the time we got past all the homophobia and figured it out, it was a really meaningful moment.
That is such an interesting point you bring up, Roshan, because I that didn't even occur to me to think about that, of what a challenge that could be with pundits. I'm sorry, I was even unaware of that. And then to think that someone would behave like that in being a part of a film to help open the narrative,
Yeah.
very interesting to me. So that takes me to the point of then, as Desis, as South Asians, are we still confined to a society that still lives in the what people will say, like the log kya kahenge type of mentality? Do you
I
still
definitely
feel
think
that?
that's a very pernicious negative force in our community, but I think the bigger thing is understanding that our whole judgment of sexual fluidity, gender, sexuality actually comes from Victorian morality because it was essentially imported. You have only to go to a temple in India and pick any temple, and you will see on the outside of those temples carved the most lewd things you've ever seen. Like, this was not a sexually prudish people. There's 1.5 billion people in India because they are very horny. So there's no, that all came from an outside constraint. And I think it's important to remember that a lot of what we perceive as judgment of deviations in gender and sexuality aren't historically true, because we have the Hijra community. We have the fact that there are thousands of gods that we still worship, female gods, which is not true for the majority of religions in the world, because most of the major monotheistic religions gave up on the worship of women. And that many of our gods can actually switch between genders or have different gender representations, have manifest multifold appearances and ways of presenting to the world. So these are all things that are actually deeply Indian.
I think what's so special about this movie is you don't always have stuff you can watch with your whole family. And this is a movie that I feel like you can sit and watch with your parents. And I really like that. And I have watched it with mine. And I think there's just less and less of that entertainment. So I really like that part of it, that it's a movie you can watch with your whole family.
And of course, I have to ask, because of the reference of DDLJ, so many of us South Asians have grown up on that. Do either one of you have a favorite song from that film, and which one is it?
Mm.
I like the Mendi one. How does that go? Mendi, look at that one.
Mendi laga ke
Yeah,
rakhna. Yep.
that's a classic. I like that too because it's been drilled into your head at weddings.
Yeah.
So true.
It just feels happy. But
Yeah.
we're the first movie to feature footage from DDLJ. Adi Chopra, the director of it, gave us permission. And it was very open-minded of him, unlike the most liberal pundit in Western Canada, to let us use footage from his iconic movie in our little gay Indian film.
By the bigness of love. The family, the wedding, it's about everybody together. You ready?
So which one of you is the bride?
Oh, Dad, yeah, that's not how it works.